Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit.
Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio.
That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplify Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplify Development Services.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN SportsWrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
It's like a loop machine.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Are you hungry for...
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN SportsWrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
It's like a loop machine.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food?
Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp,
tofu, and rasta pasta?
Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock.
In downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m.
Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock.
In downtown Atlanta.
For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992.
Or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com.
For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant.
Authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
People think unusual circumstances means complicated taxes. But for a TurboTax Live expert like me, it just makes things interesting. So, give us everything you've got.
What if I'm a professional gamer with a ton of expenses?
If they help drive views, let's talk deductions.
What if I'm in a state with no income tax, but my survival videos are viewed in 38 countries?
I can help. And if this is a business dinner, save those jerky receipts. An interesting life can mean an even greater refund. You do your thing. We've got your taxes. Intuit TurboTax Live.
Verizon just gave us all a brand new iPhone 13.
We've been customers for years. I thought new phones were for new customers. We got iPhone 13s too, switched to Verizon 2 minutes ago.
Ours were busted, and we still got a shiny new one.
Check it out. So wait, everybody gets the same great deal.
I think that's the point.
iPhone 13 on us, for every customer. Current, new, everyone. On any unlimited plan, starting at just $35. All on the network more people rely on.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora. as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
But earmuff, you stay on hard.
All right. Hey, good evening. Hello. Welcome to another edition of the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan Fulford and A.D. Drew. Pleased to be back on with you. Another beautiful Sunday evening, wherever you are. I'm dealing with, I don't know if it's allergies or whatever that thing is, Drew, that just kind of gets into your throat.
You got a frog there.
Yeah. He just pain in the rear. But man, we'll see how this one goes. I'll be hitting my mute button a whole heck of a lot tonight. So
where's your water, man?
Yeah, hey, right here. I should have brought the bigger I'm looking for it now. How far away is it? Maybe during the break I have to bring over the jug and container of water to see if I can make it through. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing okay. I'm a little upset, but I'm up for my HBCU watching pleasure. But other than that, I'm okay, my brother.
I like this. People already coming in telling us we late. Man, hey, we're sorry. That's on me because I was sitting here trying to get the Facebook. Like, I thought I set everything up, right? I thought I set everything up properly. And then Drew's like, the show's not on Facebook. And I'm like, what do you mean? I set everything up, man. It's just like, so for whatever reason, apologies. It's my fault that we're late coming on the air. I'll take the hit for that one.
And Edward, I just saw your comment. Yes, I am going to the SIC tournament. I'm going to go a little bit later on in the week. Not going to attend the opening round game. So I will make my presence known in Savannah, Georgia for the SIAC tournament. And Brian, we're going to get into it in this show, but man, another great weekend for HBCU sports, my brother. We had the Andre Dawson Classic going on. We had the CU Legacy Bowl going on. We had basketball tournaments going on. We had the CIAA tournament going on, the granddaddy of all. We have the GCAC, they're the men's championship now. Women were crowned earlier today. We had Florida Memorial winning their conference, and they'll be going on to the NAIA. We've got a couple other NAIAs who are still alive fighting for their conference crown that will be crowned later on this upcoming week. And you know what sucked about it all for Friday and Saturday, Brian? This thing called work got in the way, Brian. I didn't see. most of this. I didn't see most of this Friday and Saturday. So, I actually had a CIAA game on my phone yesterday, but actually sitting there watching it was nah. I just had a chance. I had my AirPods in one ear, walking around doing what I had to do, and glancing my phone every now and then, and saw the action. But it was just a great weekend for HBCU sports.
Yeah, I totally feel you. Working, covering games or actually working games and all this stuff. And yeah, it's a busy weekend. Again, first off, let me say congratulations and thank you to all of the sports information directors around the country. You and your staff, especially even the people who do the social media teams. Drew, you are now one of those people in that world of a college SID. So I say you and your brothers and sisters in the
And
industry.
sisters.
I said and sisters. Thank you for your
don't
work.
forget the grad students and student assistants also.
Well, I said and staff. I said and your staff.
Okay.
So everybody who's part of it, who helps make it happen. You guys stay busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. I thought we'd be heavy hoops today. That's the name of the show, Heavy Hoops Talk. But I mean, like you said, we got a lot of stuff going on, so we're gonna try to get to as much of it as we can. I think the one thing, which I don't know, you guys tell me, you guys out there watching, do you feel like did HBCU Legacy Bowl live up to the expectation and hype of a year ago? And here's what I mean by that. With so many other activities going on, I personally feel like it got lost this year a little bit. And maybe that's because it wasn't as new. Maybe it's because some of the other sports happenings were available and visible. They were more visible than the years past. We have more platforms pushing content out. So the coverage of other sports was pretty heavy this past week or weekend. I think we saw the combine, the big stories that came out earlier in the week, depending upon who you are a fan of. We had the spotlight of certain players, from out of the combines. Obviously as a guy who covers FAMU athletics and keeps that in our pocket, the news and everything that Xavier Smith did was pretty huge from a FAMU perspective. But I'm just curious. The game was Saturday. I was listening to it on the radio broadcast. Yes, there was a radio broadcast of the HBCU Legacy Bowl. So shout out to NFL Network on Sirius Radio for making that happen on my ride to where I was going to work. So I had a chance to listen to the game and listen to their reviews of Jason Dumas just wrecking shop. I didn't have to see it. I was listening to it. Jason Dumas was killing it in that game for Prairie View. He was one of the two MVPs along with Xavier Smith. So, and talk about winning the week, Xavier Smith of FAMU won the week, I think. But, there were 4 guys drafted from the HBCU Legacy Bowl last year. Be interesting to see if we get an equal number this year. Again, Drew, you set the bar, or what we set the line at? 3.5, 4.5. I set it at 4.5. I'm setting it at 4.5.
And I took the under.
So Drew's taking under. Okay. So yeah, I'm just curious for you guys who are out there watching us on Facebook, on YouTube.
Brian, after Xavier Smith's performance, not only in the combine but in the Legacy Bowl, he may be the one who pushes us to the over.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. He could.
Yeah.
because you got to think.
Because I see Land.
Yeah.
I see
Landon Miller.
I see
Miller.
I see Miller. Southern University linebacker Dumas.
Well, actually, Prairie View. If you, I don't know. You know, there's
Prairie View.
is. So, question is Dumas, is he considered Southern or is he considered Prairie View? I'd love to know. And don't give me that. Oh, he's both. Nah. The heck with that.
Swag linebacker.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. He's swag. Okay,
He's gonna be the one when they have to play introductions that will be introduced at so and so high school.
No, this is Jason Dumas. Jason Dumas, 5'11", from the SWAC. That's what he should do. That's what he should just do. Yeah, he just says, "I'm from the SWAC." That just period. Yeah. Cut it down like that. I'm curious. I'm SWAC. That's it.
You've got those three. Who did we say? We said Land.
Well, that's
Miller,
Shaq Davis.
Dumas.
You got to think about Shaq Davis from the wide receiver from South Carolina State.
There's somebody else out there that will leave it off the list, Bryan, before you get to Shaq Davis.
Well, look, you had offensive lineman from UAPB.
Yes.
The name can't escapes me. And then I'll tell you what, Joshua Pryor. I did read some reviews during the week that Joshua Pryor from Bowie State had a good week of practices, and we saw Pryor wreck shop. I mean, he's got a Division I frame at 6'5", 2 something, and I think 280. I don't know, 290, but he's a big dude, and I won't be shocked to see Pryor get an opportunity.
Yeah,
you know.
So I think between those other 5 or so people that are out there, we can get 2, especially with Xavier stepping up, having a good game yesterday. I think we can get 2 push us possibly to that over now. Where originally I thought you would definitely be leaning towards the under. And Bryan, let's be real. They may not get drafted, but I expect both FAMU's kickers, Jose Romo Martinez and Chris Fadul, to definitely be in somebody's camp because they both had outstanding careers. Kind of interesting though, Bryan. And here's the Rattler in us coming out. Didn't the Rattler score all 10 of the points for Team Gaither? I mean, for Team Robinson? I'm just curious.
I'm just saying. In the 10-3 ball game,
right?
10-3 ball game. We showed up.
Xavier got the touchdown, and
right.
Jose Martinez got the PAT and the field goal.
Right. How about Chinnis Berry, the winning coach? Chinnis Berry keeps winning, right? With another win in this time, he's the winning coach in the Legacy Bowl. So the year of Chinnis Berry continues. I mean, just a great year cemented for Coach Berry. So props to him. I just stumbled across an ESPN article that from Jordan Reed ranking the top HBCU prospects for the NFL draft. Of course, you've got Isaiah Land at 1, Aubrey Miller 2, Mark Evans is offensive lineman that I forgot from Arkansas Pine Bluff, 6'2", 293. He's a projected mid to late day 3. Most of these first 2 guys are. Shaq Davis comes in at 4. Shaq Davis, 6'4", 217 from South Carolina State. Jadakiss Bonds, wide receiver from Hampton, 6'2", 205. And then Keenan Isaac from Alabama State, 6'2", 186. He was in the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. Darian Darius Higgins, running back, Virginia State. He was in the Legacy Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, right? Darius Higgins from Virginia State, 5'11", 209. Interested to see a running back in this mix. We're at 7. Number 8, Emmanuel Wilson, running back from Fort Valley State, 5'10", 229. Of course, he was freshman of the year in the CIAA, and then he was the SIAC Offensive Player of the Year, right?
Yes.
You know who we forgot? Kamari Everett, the tight end from Bethune-Cookman, 6'5", 260. And then Dallas Daniels from Jackson State, ranked 10. Xavier Smith comes in 11th on this guy's draft pick. But there's some other and hey, the good thing, Joshua Pryor comes in 14 on this guy's pick. So he had a top 15 here. Interesting list of guys here. Dejon Warren, cornerback from Jackson State, comes in at 13. Andrew Farmer, defensive end from Lane, is 12th. So that's just one man's opinion. That's the good thing about this time of year. If you're somebody who lives and breathes these draft and prospect things, you'll eat this stuff up, because I think the HBCU guys are very well represented in this thing. Any other notes regarding the Legacy Bowl? Now, I guess the only thing that's left from this point is pro days at particular schools, and whether any of these guys get invited to the actual official team camp, not team camp, the what's the thing in Indy, the combine.
NFL Combine.
Right. So the combine should be happening. Let's see. I believe it's not next week, the first week in March, if I'm not mistaken, or the following week. It's usually the first week in March. So not this week, but the next week. I think the first full week in March. And so I do recall there's at least one or two guys. I know Isaiah Land was invited to the combine, to the NFL combine, so he'll have an opportunity there. So and then we'll kind of look and see who else is there. Some interesting chatter that I'm seeing in the chat rooms. Drew,
Brian, I don't mean to cut you off. Two things: score update, final from the SIAC tournament. Women's basketball: Edward Waters 72, Spring Hill 63. Edward Waters will advance. I believe they will be playing on Tuesday. Also,
let's back up for a second. Wait. Let's back up for a second. Let's reset, because you're giving live score updates, but you got to give it all. So if we're giving live score updates on a show like this, you got to start from the beginning. You got to start from the beginning.
Let me finish. Also, just got a text joining us sometime during the show, so stay tuned. Don't know exactly what time he's going to be able to chime in. But GCAC winning coach Eric Jackson of the Russ Bearcats will be joining us live during the show. Just received a text from him, and he's going to let me know what time he can come on.
All right. So go back then. Let's. Okay. So before let's go back because right now the SIAC tournament is happening live. Started today with women's games. Are these called opening round games for the women, correct?
Opening round, yeah.
All right. So set it up. Who do we have that played today? All the games are being played at Savannah State.
All right, let's go back. We need to start with yesterday, Brian. And going back to yesterday, we had men's opening round action on yesterday. That was Edward Waters defeating Spring Hill 78-55. That was game one. Game two, Benedict. And we'll put a pin in that one, Brian. We'll come back to Benedict. Yeah. But Waters was number 7 in the East. Spring Hill was number 6 in the West. Number 6 East, Benedict defeated number 7 Central State 79-67. And in game
Is that
3, number 5 Kentucky State defeated number 8 East Allen. Number 8 East Allen. Brian, I need to take a break just so I can talk. You start that over. Number
yeah?
5 West
Because
Kentucky
I
State
don't know whether you're
82.
talking. Are you
Number
talking men
8
or women?
East.
What are we talking? Men or women? What are we talking?
This is men. This was men. This was men.
Okay. See, I didn't even know that the men were playing yesterday. Because
Yes.
I thought today was the first day.
No, yesterday was men's opening round. So let me go back
All
to
right.
that.
So
number 6 Spring Hill.
Jesus.
Number 7 Edward Waters. Number 7 East Edward Waters 78. Number 6 Spring Hill 55. 6 West Spring Hill 55. Number 6 East Benedict 79. Number 7 West Central State 67. And number 5 West Kentucky State 82. Number 8 East Allen 72. That was men's action on yesterday. And today, women's action. Number 7 East Fort Valley 55. Number 6 West Laverne Owen 51. And in the final game of the opening round, number 6 East Edward Waters 72. Number 7 West Spring Hill 63. And that's as far in the
All right.
SIAC tournament.
And see, now I know why the CIAA went to just top to bottom ranking 1 to whatever based on your overall record, because that was much easier than what you just did. Because what you just did was thank you. You took the word right out of my mouth that I was about to say. It's almost like we needed a graphic. Yeah, we needed a graphic up on the screen as you were reading all that. We do have to talk about, since we're in the SIAC, talking about the SIAC, we do have to talk about the elephant in the room. All right? And because you just mentioned that the Benedict men, who had the best overall record in conference with 16 wins, overall, number 1 in the East and overall, best record, 16-5, had to play as a what seed in the opening round?
Number
7 seed, I think you said. 6 or 7?
6 East.
Okay. 6 in the East. And they had to do that. Why? Because 10 of their wins in conference play are, let's see, right now they are in dispute. And because they're in dispute, they have lost those games. And in regards to the tournament in the SIC, Morehouse was awarded the championship of the East Division. Okay, and there's that's a cluster. That's all I'm going to say. That's a mess. Good luck trying to keep up with that. I mean, it makes sense if you have a bracket actually, but trying to read it and look at it in writing is just ugh. But anyway, so Benedict gets dinged 10 wins. And I feel like I can, you know, and this is reported. I don't know how well it's been reported or how well it's known, but regarding, I believe it's regarding their guard, a transfer guard from North Carolina Central, Asante Price, who transferred to Benedict. Apparently, there were some compliance issues. To put it bluntly, from what I learned, paperwork didn't get done properly. Nothing that man didn't do. Apparently, some paperwork didn't get to where it needed to get to in the timely manner that it needed to get there. And yes, and thus he was playing. He only played in 13 games from the end of December and all of January. So pretty much 10 of those 13 wins had to be vacated. And most of those were conference games. I think there may have been one non-conference game at the very beginning when he came in, but most of those were conference. 10 wins, all had to be clipped from Benedict. So Benedict ended up basically giving up, you know, the top seed, but they are the top seed. That's the dangerous part about this. You know, with Asante Price, who did come in and play 2 games last week, so he is playing. They are a legit threat as a 6 seed. They're probably the best 6 seed in the country of any tournament. There will be no tournament with a 6 seed as good as Benedict, flat out. And having watched Benedict, I think this tournament is Benedict's to lose, to be honest with you, Drew.
And you know something, Brian? It scares me where Benedict is, and I am going to.
Are you looking at the bracket? Whose side of the bracket do they potentially run into?
Of course, they're on the Tuskegee side bracket, Brian.
They're on the Tuskegee side, yeah.
Why would they be on the Tuskegee side of the bracket? Just to make life tough.
Now Tuskegee is the Western champ.
I'm going to pull up the bracket.
All right. Let me set this up for people who didn't know. Tuskegee won the West with a 15-5 record. They actually won the tiebreaker over Miles, who also had a 15-5 record. Both teams were 9-3 in division play, but Tuskegee must have owned the next or third or tiebreaker or second tiebreaker.
Tuskegee swept Miles.
That's your tiebreaker. That's what you need to know. So that's head to head. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, as Edward points out, now because of the formatting, Benedict,
and you can see it on the screen.
Benedict, as you see on the screen, has to essentially play 5 games to win. Benedict would have had the double bye. If all things would have stayed, copacetic, Benedict would have had the double bye and would not have had to play until Wednesday in the quarters. But because of where they moved, they basically won today against Central. They'll probably beat Lemoyne-Owen
Don't sleep on Lemoyne. Don't sleep on Lemoyne-Owen.
Okay. My fault, Lemoyne-Owen. I know you didn't want to see Benedict. Put it like that.
No, don't sleep on Lemoyne. Benedict has a tough road. I mean, they've got to go through Lemoyne and Savannah before they would possibly see a Tuskegee. And I'll see if I can pull up the records against those two while you're talking there, Brian.
Yeah, so I mean, Benedict's road is not. Look, it's hard to win 4 games. We'll talk about a team that just did it coming up a little bit later that won 4 games to win their conference tournament. Benedict will have to win 5. That's hard.
They'll have to win 5 games in 7 days, including the last 3 days in a row.
And the most that these guys are used to playing is 3. Usually you're only playing 2 games in a 7-day period, maybe 3 in a 7-day period. But now you're seeing 5.
Usually Saturday, Monday.
Yeah.
Saturday, Monday
so
is your normal
yeah,
schedule.
you really have to wonder, or you have to hope that Benedict's depth, which I think Benedict has some really good depth. Let me just say that, having watched and called some Benedict Tiger games, if anybody can do it, they can legitimately do it, because I think they have a good 10, 11 guys. And the crazy part is they can hit you with a leading scorer in 3 or 4 different guys can really get off. So that's a pretty good Benedict team, in my opinion, Drew. Do you got any head-to-heads there? Were you able to track that down?
Yes. November 28th, which is at the beginning of the season, Lemoyne defeated Benedict 82-79.
All right, 3-point game.
So, and against Savannah, And just a quirk in the schedule, they have to play Savannah back-to-back on January 25th and 28th. Savannah defeated Benedict 58-54. And then 3 days
4-point
later,
game.
Benedict defeated Savannah 69-64.
All right, so close ball games in both. Now, potentially, if we were project out, how did they fare against Tuskegee?
Tuskegee defeated them. I remember that was come from behind victory for Tuskegee 73-69.
4-point game.
Yeah.
So, look, for Benedict, there's a lot of familiarity, a lot of motivation, a lot of motivation with those losses, right? I gotta say, a lot of motivation. So, how do you see this this field going? I know your heart wants Tuskegee, but if you had to make a prediction, how do you see this going?
Oh, it's going to be it's going to be very interesting, Brian. Not quite sure how this one is going to go, but
put the
I'm
bracket
thinking
up
it's
there, and
going to be
I'll give you.
Tuskegee. I think it's going to be Tuskegee Miles in the finals once again.
All right, so you're going Tuskegee Miles,
and it's hard. And I I'm pulling for Tuskegee, but it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same year, especially a Fred Watson coached team 3 times in the same year. The team to watch out for on the top half of the bracket, Brian, as we take a look at it. I mean, you got to watch out for number 1 Morehouse. If this coach Whitler has gone down with his ailment, Morehouse is playing good ball, and don't know whether they're playing for Coach Whitler or what the case is, but I know a lot of that had to do with injuries. Morehouse was banged up early in the season and really did not get their players back until February. Morehouse has been on a roll as of late. On the bottom half of that bracket, Brian, Lemoyne is the team that I would keep an eye out for outside of Benedict and Tuskegee.
Okay, so I'm eyeing Morehouse coming out of the top half of the bracket. That's my team that I'm looking for. I really think highly of that team, having watched them, especially late in the year. I think they're playing really well. I think Kerry Richardson is a legit. I know he played second team. I know he plays second team All SIC. I think I wonder sometimes whether when they do the all conference, do they look at the entire season or do they just look at the conference schedule? Because I think he's a legit first team All SIC player. Now, obviously, he didn't play much of the non-conference season, but in terms of just what he's done in conference play, I think the kid is legit. And nice frame, can get his shot wherever he wants it on the floor, pretty much. But I'm curious what that Clark-Morehouse game might look like in the opening round. That'll be interesting. Morehouse doesn't have it easy, especially if they end up with Clark. Clark, who, there's
Who
a lot of
knows them
familiarity there.
because Coach Jordan was on the Morehouse staff last year.
Right. So a lot of familiarity there, and then I already said I'm going Benedict on the bottom half. I still think I'm going a Morehouse Benedict final. And the question is, will Benedict have enough gas in the tank to beat Morehouse if that's who's playing in the championship? So that's who I'm going with.
Hey Brian, let's quickly flip over to the women's bracket. Oh, and I've got a confirmation. Eric Jackson will be on at 7:15 Eastern, 6:15 Central.
All right. So before we go to the women, do we want to take a break and then get into the women, or kind of keep it rolling?
Yeah. Let's go
All
ahead.
right.
Let's
So
take
let's
that
take a
first
break.
break.
Let's take a break. We're coming back talking about the SIC women. Then we got to talk about the CIAA tournament that took place in Baltimore as well. Some surprising outcomes there to talk about as well. Stick around, guys. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. We'll be back in just a moment.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3999.
From
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and A.D here. Thanks to everybody tuning in, watching us on YouTube, Facebook, maybe watching us on Twitter. Please make sure to go and hit that thumbs up button wherever you are watching the stream or show. And feel free to go ahead and share the show. You know, we've been doing this thing for 6 years, and we appreciate the commentary and the conversation from a lot of you guys. We got some juicy info to talk about coming up a little bit later. We will talk about, Drew has coined this phrase, which it is so fitting. We have a potential 4-team tiebreaker in this conference that could happen based on outcomes this week. We'll talk a little bit
Y'all know what
about
conference
that
it
conference. Yes, we will talk about that.
We talk about so much
of
football. Y'all know which one we talking about.
Hey, and we have gone so far to break it down based on certain things happening this week, and it's very likely it could happen. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. And coming up 7:15, we'll talk to Coach Eric Jackson, head coach, Rust College Lady Bearcats will come on after their dramatic win over Philander Smith in the GCAC tournament. I believe the second consecutive year they won the tournament. Correct, Drew?
No.
Or they lost last year to Philander. Yeah, they lost last year to Philander. That's what it was. Yes, but they still got into the tournament based on their rankings and their play. So who knows? It was talk about a heart pumping contest, man. That game was intense. So congratulations to the Lady Bearcats. So we'll talk to him coming up around 7:15. All right, the SIC women. You've got the East champ in the regular season was Clark Atlanta. They finished 14-5. They finished with a 1-game lead over Savannah State. Clark had won their last 3 games, maybe 3 or 4, something like that. I think it was their last 3 or 3 or 4, one of the two. Savannah State, at that point, needed to win their final game of the regular season against Fort Valley State. They stumbled, ended up losing by 5 or 6, and ended up they ended up losing the East regular season title, and they end up as 13-6 in conference play. Now, of course, the squad and the team that really took all the honors in the women, it was Tuskegee. They not only took home the regular season TIAA SIC Player of the Year. Shyla Jackson won it for the 2nd consecutive year. Maybe even the 3rd consecutive year. Was that the COVID year? Would have been the 3 years. So there wasn't a year 3 years ago. But didn't she win it the year before COVID?
No,
No,
Bay
that
won
was
it
Bay.
that year.
That was Bay. Bay won it. Okay, but Shyla Jackson was right there in the hunt. And then grad student. Okay, I'm gonna try not to mess this up. Jutoria Willis. I hope I said that right. She earned. Yeah, that's what I said. Thank you. The AA SIC Defensive Player of the Year, representing Jackson State, or excuse me, Tuskegee. I was reading somebody's post and I was like, Jackson State, what? From Tuskegee, and just to kind of give some context to how great a year it is for Tuskegee. Current record 23-3. They are 20-0 in conference play. They were a perfect 12-0 at home this year. They finished ranked number 1 in the SIC in assist to turnover ratio, assists per game, scoring offense, scoring margin, steals per game, 3-point percentage defense, and turnover margin. That's all within the conference. Nationally, they ranked 1st in 3-point defensive percentage, 4th in turnovers forced per game, 5th in steals, and in all of Division II in offensive rebounds per contest. I think they finished 1st in offensive rebounds per contest. Coach Trelane Powell was your SIC Player of the Year, or Coach of the Year, and she has really built a dynamic program. It'll be interesting to see how far Tuskegee goes. I mean, we pretty much are assuming that they are getting in regardless of the outcome here in the SIC. I saw you put up the bracket there for a second, Drew. Let's kind of go through that. I guess the question becomes is who has the best shot at knocking off Tuskegee? I know that's going to be hard for you to answer that question, but as best as you can, Drew, when you look at the opponents, who fared the best against Tuskegee this past year?
Yeah. First of all, before I get into the update from the GCAC tournament, Brian, at the half, Tougaloo 32, Philander Smith 24.
That score update brought to you by nobody, but you could be a sponsor of score updates like that. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. But if somebody wants to become a sponsor of the BCSN, we will sure as heck love to have a conversation with you. Pulling up the Tuskegee women's basketball schedule right now. And looking at their probable opponents on the bottom half of the bracket, which will be either Allen or Central State. Of course, they only played Allen one time. They defeated Allen 72-66 on January 2nd. On January 9th, they defeated Central State on the 66-56. And they defeated Central State at home 89-74. You're probably looking at
who has the best
Kentucky
shot?
State.
Who has the best shot?
I guess to come out of the other portion of that bracket, they defeated Kentucky State 58-48 on the road, and 68-57 in Tuskegee, and Savannah. Going back, I'm scrolling through. Defeated Savannah State.
That's how big of a loss
62.
is. Well, yeah, let me say that's how big of a loss is by Savannah State, Drew, because Savannah State not getting the tie with Clark. Savannah State would have had the tiebreaker over Clark Atlanta. Savannah State would have been on the other side of the bracket had they not lost their final game of the season to Fort Valley State. Obviously, you lose. Now you're on the same side of the bracket with Tuskegee. And, hopefully if Savannah State, they can hope for a good home crowd. And where did they play? You said they only played one time this past year. Where was that game played?
It was in Savannah.
Okay, well, and you said it was 78-62?
78-62 on December 15th.
Yikes. Okay, well, hey, that was last year, so that's a positive. That was last year.
Yeah. Looking at the other half of the bracket, Brian, and I'm supposed to sound like a broken record with this. I honestly see Tuskegee Miles in the championship game.
I mean, would you expect anything different?
I mean,
honestly, expect anything different?
No.
I wouldn't bet anything different.
Taking a look at Miles' schedule. Miles, I know they defeated Clark Atlanta because I was at that game. Yeah, 67-61. That was the conference opener for both of these teams. 67-61, the only time that those two met up should they meet in the conference semifinals. Also, Miles defeated Benedict, who would be their probable first round opponent, 64-46. And that game was in Fairfield, Alabama. So it's kind of why I'm leaning towards those being the top two. Honestly, Brian, the only team with a shot in the top half of the bracket would be Clark Atlanta defeating Miles. Other than that, Miles is the second best team in this conference.
I saw
all of these teams play.
I'm seeing a message here from Edward saying that Savannah State Tuskegee match was actually at Tuskegee. So
not
not
according to yes, you are correct. You are correct. That was at Tuskegee.
All right, appreciate that, Edward. So that's a pretty good shot there. So there's an opportunity for Savannah. You get them at home, and then you go from there. All right.
But Savannah has to win first. That's crucial.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, let's quickly jump over to the CIAA tournament. Drew, over the weekend, wrapping up a good week of action there in Baltimore, Maryland. You had some pretty interesting outcomes over on the men's side. You had two interesting semifinal games. You had Lincoln, PA, defeating the defending champs Fayetteville State in the semis to advance to the championship game. Then you also had Winston-Salem State.
Which side are we on, men
beating
and women, Virginia
Union.
bracket.
I was just recapping what happened in the semifinals. That's it on the men's side. So we had Winston-Salem defeat the #1 team in our rankings, as well as the top overall seed, Virginia Union. Beat them 45-44. That was Winston-Salem State's third win of the tournament, and then of course they'd have to go and get a fourth consecutive win, which they did do on Saturday afternoon against Lincoln to get the trying to take a look here at the final score. I don't know, did you find the bracket that you wanted to pull up? I'll finish here. Final score, I'm not sure what the final score was right offhand. There you go. You got it there. 62 to, if you scroll down there, 62 to 50 something. I think they beat 57. I think they beat them by 5 points, if I recall correctly. So that is the second CIAA title in the past 3 seasons for Coach Cleo Hill Jr. This team, I think when they won it 3 years ago, or I think it was the year before COVID. So that team was actually one of the top seeds. I think they may have even been a 2 or a 3 seed that particular year. This team was not. You kind of see their path. They had to play on the opening night in the opening round, and then they had to go through Claflin, then they had to beat Virginia Union, and then they had to beat Lincoln, PA, who had beat Fayetteville State. So congratulations to Winston-Salem State, their 13th CIAA championship. And actually, they reached a 20-win portal, or plateau, I should say, and now have a 21-8 record. And we'll talk a little bit more about how big a win or how big a tournament that was for Winston-Salem State. It definitely will open some eyes. People, it will open some eyes. But it was a big win overall. I was looking here at this article here by Luke Williams over on HBCU Game Day. Trying to see, just pointing out a couple of things here. Winston-Salem actually had to come back in this contest. Again, we're talking about, we were kind of unable to kind of watch this game at 1. Now, now let me say this. I thought these games used to be played a little bit later in the afternoon or evening. I definitely don't like the 1 o'clock tip-off. And if I'm not mistaken, I even saw Stephen Gaither point this out, that they had a semifinal game on Friday night that didn't start until 8 o'clock for the men. And whoever played that last game, yeah, great. Okay. But you got to be I think you got to be better about your scheduling. Why not play the 2 men's game? If you know that the men are going to be the first game on the championship, play the 2 men's games earlier on Friday, and then play the 2 women games later on Friday. That way, there's an opportunity to get some rest. I mean, we can't sell. How many times? Let me not stop. I'm not going to get started. I understand TV, but come on. You got, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Lincoln played that last game. If I'm not mistaken, not that they're going to use it as an excuse, but I'm just saying that's a tough ask to have kids, go to bed, turn around. Hey guys, we got to get up and play at 1. But
exactly,
it is what it is. Let's see. Taking a look at the all CIAA team. I'm trying to look at notable names. The MVP of the tournament was Jalen Alston of Winston-Salem State. Samaj Teal, Jalen Gibson, also of Winston-Salem State, made the all-tournament team. From Lincoln, you had Reggie Hudson and Bakir Cleveland. Virginia Union, you had Khalif Tate and CIAA Player of the Year Robert Osborne, Jamari Roberts of Shaw, and then you had Trey Richardson of Elizabeth City State. That was your 2023 CIAA All-Tournament team. For the women, you had Elizabeth City State. Now, the women played at 4 o'clock, and it was a historic day for the Vikings as ECSU won their first ever CIAA title with a 55-40 win over the 6 seed. So pretty interesting. You had the 5 seed in Elizabeth City State and the 6 seed in Shaw. Both teams who got big semifinal wins over, and actually that whole tournament on the women's side was an upset city. You had Johnson C. Smith knocking off Fayetteville State like in the opening round of the quarters. And then you had Shaw, who beat Winston-Salem State, who was they had a bye. And who was that? I think Winston-Salem State women were the 3 seed. Who was that Shaw beat, Drew? If you scroll down a little bit, who was that they beat in the semis?
Claflin.
They beat Lincoln, PA.
Oh,
Who
Claflin
was the 2?
and Winston-Salem. Oh yeah,
Well,
Lincoln,
I was
PA
saying Shaw in the
semis.
semis. In the semis, they beat.
Yeah.
So they beat a 3 seed, 2 seed to get to the tournament. So you had a 5 versus a 6 seed, and it was a good win. First tournament title for ECSU, who lost in the 2022 championship game to Lincoln. So the Lady Vikings are going on to the NCAA tournament. Overall record 20-10. Tournament MVP Nyasia Blango, also making the all-tournament team, Akaya King. And Kaijarnik Armfield. Had to make sure I tried to get that first name right. So that was a mouthful, to say the least. So congratulations to all those to those teams. We'll talk about them a little bit more when we get into our preview show. Another school, Drew, that we got to talk about on the NAIA level.
Lost you there, Brian. Not sure if you are still there, but I think the other school that he was going to talk about on the NAIA level was Florida Memorial. Florida Memorial, who won the Sun Conference Championship on this past Sunday with their 98-85 victory over Southeastern. And pulling that up, Florida Memorial jumped out on Southeastern 50-28 for a halftime score in that particular game. Leading the way for Memorial was Aliyah Dean Ahmad with 36 points in 38 minutes of action. Also, Jasmine Worthy, who had 19 points on the day. Chantel Baudet chipped in 14 points, and Tiana Ayalo also chipped in 14 points on the day. And this is the conference victory for Florida Memorial, who also won the regular season conference championship also. Let's see, Ahmad was named the Sun Conference Tournament Most Valuable Player for the tournament. Ayalo also made the Sun Conference All-Tournament team there for Florida Memorial. Jasmine Worthy dominated the post with a double-double, 19 points and 18 rebounds in her performance. Nia Johnson had 10 points and 5 offensive rebounds. Chantel Barnett, who was all-conference first-team selection, chipped in those 14 points and 6 rebounds, Brian. We had lost the connection there, so I went on ahead and read the Florida Memorial information. I think that's where you were getting ready to go with your comments there.
Well, one of the two places I was going to go, but no, it wasn't. So,
okay, well, I took care of that one for you, then. So go to where to go. We've crowned another champion. So,
okay, so go ahead and recap because I missed that. I missed that there while I was dealing with my network issues.
Florida Memorial victory was a 98-85 victory over Southeastern, and discussed that all-tournament team was Aaliyah Ahmad and Tiana Ayalo were named to the all-tournament team, and Ahmad was the tournament MVP.
All right.
Just to
Congratulations, Florida Memorial.
Yes.
All right. All right.
They'll be waiting until Thursday night, I believe, at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central to find out their pairing in the NAIA tournament.
All right. I think where I was going to go was talking about Langston University and Langston, a part of the Sooner Athletic Conference. I was trying to get an update on where they were. Trying to get an update on where Langston was in the at Chris Wright named as the coach of the year in the conference. I believe four off that team made the all team. Do we know where the Sooner Athletic Conference, where they are in terms of their schedule right now, Drew?
They played the opening round. They played on, I believe, on campus sites on this past Thursday. They will play again on Monday, I believe. Monday and Tuesday will round out the Sooner Athletic Conference. And I believe that tournament is in Oklahoma City. Don't quote me on that location, which is an essential home game for Langston, with them being only a few minutes down the road from Oklahoma City.
All right,
That's
all right. It's hard to get great seasons going from 1-26 or 7, what Langston's men were last year, to record this year. Chris Wright may be doing this year a lot of great program rebuilds. Chris Wright might be doing something that I don't know is ridiculously rare. Might be
if he winds up in the Final Four or the Lord forbid the national championship game again.
I say the 16
2 teams, 2 programs, 2 years. That's a remarkable feat that I don't think I've seen on any level.
Yeah. I think him getting to the 16 would definitely qualify for. I mean, look, regular season wise, Langston go ahead if they win this Sooner Athletic Conference, they definitely are player coach of the year. I think one publication, Hoop Dirt, may have already recognized him as coach of the year, NAIA level, but definitely national recognition should be there for what he did. Yeah, David Garner points out.
Let's put this in perspective, Brian. In 2 years, he's lost 6 basketball games to 3 teams.
Say that again.
Because all 4 in 2 years, he's lost 6 basketball games to 3 teams. Because all 4 of his losses last year which is the same team, that Loyola team from last year. And then the two losses that he had this year to two separate teams.
Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive, to say the least.
So over 50 victories.
Yeah. A lot of people, well, he's a hot name. Let's just say it like that. He's a hot name. Should be a hot name. Probably Langston University. Hold him while you can. Hey, let's do this. I know we've got Coach Jackson coming up, so let's take a break. On the other side, we'll either have Coach Jackson or we can kind of get into talking about a little bit more. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan and A.D. We'll be back in a moment.
Novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
People think unusual circumstances means complicated taxes. But for a TurboTax Live expert like me, it just makes things interesting. So, give us everything you've got.
What if I'm a professional gamer with a ton of expenses?
If they help drive views, let's talk deductions.
What if I'm in a state with no income tax, but my survival videos are viewed in 38 countries?
I can help. And if this is a business dinner, save those jerky receipts. An interesting life can mean an even greater refund. You do your thing. We've got your taxes. Intuit TurboTax Live.
Verizon just gave us all a brand new iPhone 13.
We've been customers for years. I thought new phones were for new customers. We got iPhone 13s too, switched to Verizon 2 minutes ago.
Ours were busted, and we still got a shiny new one.
Check it out. So wait, everybody gets the same great deal?
I think that's the point.
iPhone 13 on us for every customer. Current, new, everyone. On any unlimited plan, starting at just $35. All on the network more people rely on.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
At HBCUs, there's no limit to who we can be. Black and inspired and thriving. Black and magnetic and sing. From the classrooms to the quad, our passion is our purpose. We are leaders and legacy. So when you look at what we accomplish next, you'll know where it started. For who you are and who you want to be, we're here.
I'm a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire.
Crypto is complicated, but as a tax expert with crypto experience, you can hand your taxes off to me. You do your thing, we've got your taxes. Intuit, TurboTax Live.
Pizza Hut stuffed crust is the crust that made crust good. Topped and stuffed with over a half pound of cheese. What are you so afraid of? Loving it? Original stuffed crust, just $12.99. Only from Pizza Hut. No one out Pizza Hut.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplify Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplify Development Services.
Hello, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap and A.D here. We appreciate everybody watching us out on Facebook and on YouTube. Make sure you're following the Black College Sports Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MyBCSN1, the number 1. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app on the Google Play and Apple App Store. Just search MyJBN or MyBCSN. And for you podcast folks, hey, we want you to go download and subscribe to the BCSN Pod Zone. That is everywhere. You listen and download to podcasts. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. You name it, it's everywhere. Just search BCSN Pod Zone. It's a nice aggregate of all of the shows that are on the Black College Sports Network. Our show, Carlos Brown, who you can hear every Saturday. Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, which appears on Tuesday and Thursday. The O&G Strike Zone on Wednesday nights. And you'll also get bonus content like Brave Talk with Charles Edmonds, who Charles talks with the Alcorn State head coaches, Landon Bussey, Nate Kilbert right now, but he also will have Coach Fred McNair during the football season, and I'm sure he'll be talking to other head coaches as well. So whether you're looking for a particular school or just general talk, you can find it on the BCSN Pod Zone. So tell a friend, and we appreciate you rating, reviewing, wherever you are listening to that podcast on that particular platform. Okay, so before we get into more talk, we're kind of waiting right now for Coach Jackson from Rust to join us. Excuse me. Drew, you got an score update for us?
Give me just a second, Brian. They just went to commercial, and I turned my head, so I did not get the score before they went to commercial.
All right. Well, we'll get into talking a little more basketball here in a second. I'm going to come off the basketball court for a minute. I got to mention that right here from off of HBCUGameDay.com, Howard University men's swimming and diving team won the 2023 Northeast Conference, that's NEC championship in dominant fashion, scoring 928 points over the 5-day span. A host of individual awards here for the Bison for the second straight year. The coaches of Howard received the NEC Coaching Staff of the Year. Howard Director of Swimming and Diving, Nicholas Askew, leads that group. And so congratulations to all the coaches and the student athletes. The team that finished in second was Long Island University, and they finished with 759 points. So Howard doing it real big. The Bison on March 9th through 11th, several Bison will travel to Elkhart, Indiana for the CSCAA National Invitational Championships. So I gotta look. I'm curious how many of these swimmers and divers will compete in the NCAA swimming and diving championships. I don't know if is that. I'm curious, like, if that's the next step or what. Also, Drew, I know I kind of went down the rabbit hole when I saw this news come out the other day about Howard. I kind of went down the rabbit hole of just trying to remember what happened to HBCU swimming programs because I know FAMU had one. You know,
They did when we
matter
were
of
in
fact,
school.
when we were on the yard, there was a swimming program. A couple of good friends that I know came out of that program. So
They say it was gonna be easy.
looks like we might have our next
And
guest on the show.
I think we have Coach Jackson get ready to come in. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
go ahead.
So we'll get ready to pod him up here in a second.
Hear you, Coach
See,
Jackson. Can I get you to turn your phone sideways for me, Coach Jackson?
All right, so
there you go.
In just a second,
we
we'll
can bring
have
him on
Coach
screen.
Jackson joining us here.
There we go.
All right, there he is, Coach Eric Jackson with the nets over his neck, and the big 51-50 win today over Philander Smith. Those of you who are watching, you can actually see some of the moments at the end of the game. Coach, we're looking at the end of the game. How do you describe your emotions in a contest like that goes back and forth? There are runs where you're down by several points, then you take a lead, they come back, take it back. Just overall, how do you, when it's all said and done, in that moment, what are your emotions?
Man, kind of up and down. You try your best as a coach to be even keel and focus on the next play. Just so, you say all the time, players are a reflection of their coach, so you try to make sure that you stay calm so they'll stay calm in the heat of the battle. And I try my best to do that. And they just executed late like they were supposed to instead of them.
Definitely, you did execute late. The dramatic fashion of this game, for those who didn't see it, I mean, this is one of those instant classics where one of your, on a sideline inbound play, it looks where one of your players was going to the basket, gets called for traveling. A little bit of controversial call, I'm sure. That had to be a heartbreaker on the floor at the moment. And then coming right back on a sideline inbound for Philander gets a steal. I mean, so the emotions of that moment are running through, and then you run the nice little sideline play, which your young lady, and the name escapes me, but a great offensive rebound and a soft finish to put you all up 51-50. You guys were the hunted this year. Had a target on your back all season. Did you? I feel like you're the kind of guy who embraces that. What did you embrace that this year, or what was the message to the team as this season played out?
Just understanding that, not really understanding what that means until you see a team play one way against somebody else during conference play, and then they play you, and all of a sudden they're a little quicker to the ball. They're making more threes. They're a little more aggressive, and it's like, yeah, they're going to give you their best. They don't want to get embarrassed, and they want to make that to win. I don't really understand what that means until you actually go through the fire. So all conference season long, we've been doing that. We've had games where we got not heartbroken. We have games where, we come back. We have games where we kind of take control of the game. And we also have games where we sustain a lead but never really put teams away. And so all of those experiences added together gave us the tools we needed to be successful tonight. And I'm just a testament to my girls to continue to stick with it and through it all. So I'm just super proud of them.
Go ahead, Drew.
Coach, I gotta ask you this.
Okay.
How does it feel to get the proverbial monkey off your back? Because you have gone down, for Latin past some great epic battles there in the GCAC over your tenure there in the GCAC. To finally get that dub, Coach, how does it feel in the moment?
In the moment, I mean, to be honest, but I was really just happy for my girls, to be honest, man, because they've been through so much that don't show up on the camera, don't show up on social media, just in their individual lives, and to come out and still have just the gumption and the gall to come and play hard um, for our program and for me, man. I don't know how they do it. I really don't understand how they do it. They could have easily just packed it up. I won't go into detail about some of the stuff that they went through, man, but I was just so happy for them to be able to stick through this and get a win. It just makes me so happy for them.
You talk about some of those girls. You've had a few young ladies who've been there with you through the lowest of lows and the highest of highs that you've had there at Russ. I know a couple of those ladies were on that team when you were heartbroken a couple of years ago when you were snubbed by the NAIA selection committee, and then they've been there through. We have lost them for a second. Let me hold up. Oh, I thought.
Yeah, he's
Are you
there.
still
Just
there,
kind of
Coach? I
comes
don't
in
know
and
how
out a
much.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you
Yeah, I
good.
don't know how
I hear
much
you
of
good
this you
now.
heard. Okay. You've had some young ladies who've been there through the lowest of lows and the highest of highs there at Russ. You've had you were snubbed by the committee a couple of years ago, and we talked to you on that night. Gone through the cancellation of the tournament with COVID and some other things. So talk about some of those young ladies who've been there with you throughout this journey that you finally culminated tonight with the championship.
Well, obviously, Katie Black, she's been with me since a baby, since a freshman straight out of high school. She's our hometown here, Olive Branch, which is like 30 minutes away from home. Um, School's leading rebounder now, all time. Um, so she's definitely been one who's been with me since we were, 10 and 10, fresh into the NAI, making that transition from Division III. You got, Faith. Her call was on late in the game. She's been with me for 3 years. Zoe Alexander, who made that big three in the corner, our first three-pointer of the game, to give us that first lead after we lost it early in the first quarter. It's been here, and even people like, I want to highlight Bianca Mass from Memphis, but go to nationals, and we share the conference championship regularly. So you started on that team, and it's changed over the years, but her intensity and her love for the program, her dedication never wavered. When her number is called, she's ready to go. She's had good moments this year, and she puts pressure on us, and she has one of the highest basketball IQs on the team. And without her, our practices are not how they should be. She's making sure the new girls know where to go. She's one of our captains. And Molly Jones as well, been with me for all 3 years, last 3 years. She's one of our other local kids. Never get a chance to play much in the big time games, but she's one of those culture builder kids, man. She shows up to practice, she works hard, she knows where to go, and it makes it easier for us and the kids that play 25 and 30 minutes a game um, to be prepared for moments like, and they don't get credit enough because we don't see them on the stats. I want to make sure that on this podcast, on our platform, Black College Sports Network, that I want to let them know that we're proud of them too, for sure.
Yeah. All right, now I got to get this one in. Coach Green, you know, he be best with us when we be on HBCU Nightly. Always
Coach
tell us to
Green.
watch out for you. Talking
Hey, he is
cash
the
money.
blogger of bloggers. Yeah, that's my. That's I don't do talking. That's the mouthpiece of the team right there.
Coach Alto Green, for those who do not know, he's a regular on HBCU Nightly, which which I try to frequent as much as I can. So, and he's been pumping not only you, but you know, a lot of teams throughout the NAIA on that show, making sure that these small schools get their love. So, tell Coach Green from Black College Sports Network and the HBCU Nightly, we all say hello, thank you, and congratulations on that.
Sure will.
All right, go ahead, Bryan.
Hey, Coach, I see a lot of people, a couple people in the comments were really impressed with just your poise and composure there in the chaos of those final moments. When you're coaching in that moment, take us, maybe if you can put it into some kind of words or contextualize for those who haven't been on the sidelines in intense moments like that. What is the mental organization like for you, or just being able to be ready as that game is flowing? Because people who may not have seen it, you got substitutions coming in, you had offense, defensive subs, you had your and the bench and the crowd, everybody's going wild, but at the same time, you're focused. Where one more, go ahead, True.
One
What
more
else?
thing, Bryan. Both teams were out of timeouts also. He has to do this on the fly because he can't call them over and tell them too much anything because they'll put the ball in play. So throw that in when you talk about that preparation, Bryan.
Yeah, so Coach, break that down for somebody who hasn't done it before, but when you see it, and you know that sometimes separates winning and losing, but break it down for someone who hasn't done it before. What's that like? Where's that mental preparation start?
Well, that's exactly right. It's preparation. Me and my dad are both big-time Washington Commanders fans, formerly known as the Washington Redskins. And legendary coach Joe Gibbs said the will to win is not as important as the will to prepare to win. You know, and so that's one of the things that we really, really harp on. We intentionally worked on special situations all year, maybe once or twice a week. And then as we got to postseason play, spend as much as 45 minutes on like situations just like that. So that way, when you don't have timeouts, they have something in their toolbox to pull from that you don't necessarily have to draw up. You know, and then it also helped us as a coaching staff to walk through who we want to finish the game, offensively, defensively, who we want to pass the ball in, because you know the play is not as good. It's only as good as the person who initiates it out of the inbound. We got to get the ball in. So just kudos to them, man. Focusing, because you know late in the season you don't have 2 hour practices. You have like hour and a half, and it's more of a mental practice than a physical. You know, because you're trying to keep everybody healthy and things like that. So that's kind of what it was like. It was easy to be somewhat comfortable on the outside. I was a nervous wreck on the inside, but it was easy because we had some things to pull from. That it wasn't just out of the hat, spur of the moment. It was some stuff that we actually worked on, and so that was just something that we were happy that we were able to do. And Coach Green was a really, really, really big part of that.
Yeah. Can
Well,
I ask a follow up on that, Bryan?
congratulations on that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Just a quick follow up. The turnover there, I believe there was 11 seconds on the clock, and I think it was about 8 on the clock when you create the turnover. And Bryan and I both coach. So many times when we see that when you're in that defensive position, you know if the ball gets hit, you have to foul. But so many times we see that miss blown assignment where two people go to one person, somebody's left wide open, and that's the thing that causes it. Usually, unfortunately, it's the one who can knock the free throws down. So talk about that. I need you to go through that defensively. How that worked in that moment, and you guys were not only able to create. Basically, you created the turnover right there where they thought you were going for the foul. You forced a bad pass, ball rolled off the Atlanta player's hand. I don't know who it was. That's not important, and the ball went out of bounds right there, and which set up the sideline out of bounds play with when you were trailing about 1 point. I'm gonna go through that defensive sequence for me, Coach.
Oh. Well, that's another part of our special situation practice. You know, that we are not trying to, and so we made it an intentional to go not trying to foul right now. You know, and now you try to get the deal where they think, so let me call the whistle, let me call it tight because I'm, you know, so you let now they're all a little bit straight down the wheel and give you opportunity. Again, it was just our preparation that I tried to implement. Earls did a great job. Great job.
All right. All right, Coach. Go ahead and get your shout outs. Family, alumni, supporters, friends, university president, mom and daddy, whoever you want to get in there. Go ahead and get them in there for us, Coach.
All that. All that, man. All that, man. Starting off for sure, I would thank God, Lawrence, man. He's the team center of my life. But our administration, from the president on, they were here with bells and whistles on. Bells and whistles. Not even just this season, just this game. They were here all year. They were traveling with us. Our athletic director traveled with us to Arizona. You know, we've had teachers, faculty members travel with us all across the Southeast region. All of our fans, parents coming from Orlando, Florida, flying halfway across the country. Just everybody that's played a part in this. Everybody that donated to our fundraiser early in the year to allow Arizona and get that experience playing nationally ranked teams. You guys, thank the student body and especially the cheerleaders. The cheerleaders raised money to be here, and they was here all weekend with us. You know, just cheering us on. You know, and so we especially appreciate Miss G and the cheerleaders for being here. And then last but not least, for sure, my wife. She's been my backbone, my peace in the middle of a storm, if you will. So I just want to let you know, thank you, and I appreciate you, baby. And then I appreciate you
All
guys
right.
too. Again, like I always tell you guys, man, this platform is big for us, and we appreciate you giving us a place where we can speak. Um, you know, that's for us, by us, man. So kudos to you two, as usual, man, for giving us a space.
Well, we appreciate you, Coach. We appreciate you and your winning ways. And you've got 23 hours left on that 24-hour rule. So we don't want to take up too much more of your time, Coach.
All right. Hey, congratulations again. I think we may have lost our signal with Coach Jackson. There he is. Hey, again, hey, Coach. Again, thank you for all of your candor and joining us. And you know, we love talking to you every time, and we're glad we get a chance to talk to you on such a glorious evening. All right, so congratulations to you, the players, the staff, the entire Russ College family. And we'll talk a little bit. We'll talk about the NAIA tournament later, but enjoy tonight. The night is yours. Congratulations.
And we know Whitney Bishop Jenkins, a friend of the family, alumnus of Russ College, is definitely happy out there.
All right. Well, I think we might have finally
Bryan,
lost our signal with Coach.
Yeah. Let's go ahead.
Yeah,
Let's
so
take a
let's go ahead
break
and take a
and then come back with the polls.
Yeah, we'll come back, talk about our polls and some of the results from the Division I teams prior to getting into the polls. All right, you're watching a BCSN Sports Wrap. We'll be back in a moment.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN SportsWrap, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG, Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Again, got to give a thanks to Coach Eric Jackson, Russ College, Lady Bearcats winning the GCAC Women. Drew, we were talking just offline a second ago that the men's game is getting kind of juicy. So do you have a score update while we're live?
58-53 with just over 3 minutes remaining in the ball game, and I do believe that the Flatter head coach was ejected from the game.
I saw that. I saw somebody post that.
Yes. So
Tougaloo's leading, I'm assuming.
Tougaloo's up by 5, 58-53. Out was just called with just over 3 minutes ago, and I will do my best to keep us updated on this particular game as we continue on with our show.
All right, so interesting. Before we get into talking about the top 5 polls, I got to mention the Andre Dawson. Make sure I say it right. The Andre Dawson Classic, hosted by the University of New Orleans, where a host of HBCU schools, Grambling State, Alabama A&M, Prairie View, Florida A&M, Jackson State, all along with the University of New Orleans, all compete in a bit of a tournament. So you had 7 HBCUs and then UNO. This is the This is sort of an annual thing that it's become a great. Hey, I love the fact that this was played on the.
Check that score, bro. Sorry. 56-58 is the score. 3:10 remaining. Continue.
All right. Yeah, we're all right. So let me go through a quick update on the results in case you didn't get a chance to watch or catch a lot of these results. The best record so far, and I know I don't have the last result from the final game. I don't think it'll matter though for what I'm going to say here. Jackson State came away with 3 wins, beating the University of New Orleans. They beat Prairie View by a score of 5-4. Then they beat Grambling 12-11. So Jackson State went 3-0 over the weekend. The next best results came from 2 of their SWAC East rivals or brothers, however you want to say it. You had Alabama State went 2-1 with wins over Grambling by a score of 10-4, and they beat Southern by a score of 7-5. And then Florida A&M got wins over Southern 12-6 and beat Prairie View 6-4. Alabama A&M and Grambling both got a win. Now, again, the final game was Alabama A&M and Southern. So if Southern did not win that game, that would mean Southern came out of this series winless. And this is 1 weekend removed from playing in the Cactus Jack event in Houston, where I think they won all 3 games they played in. So props to how good is the East going to be this year in baseball? The East is going to be interesting. I mean, that's,
The East
Jackson
is
State
loaded. Alabama State,
the East.
Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Bethune. And then I'll tell you what, if Alabama A&M got a win over Southern, because they run ruled Prairie View to open the tournament 13-1, and they lost to Grambling by 1 run. So Alabama A&M theoretically could have been playing Southern going for 3. I mean, that's another. And Alabama A&M, remember, that was a school that was getting walloped last year. So it's kind of fun
but
to
Alabama
see.
A&M was playing with one hand tied behind their back because remember they lost their home field. I believe it was in mid-April of the season when storm hurricane came through there. They lost their home field. Just think about this, Brian. Talk about that SWAC East. Do you really want to be the number 1 in the SWAC West and have to face whichever one of those teams finishes 4th?
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you got to face. You got you got to face somebody, right? You got to deal with somebody. I mean, I think Southern is probably the class of the West, but that's on reputation alone, and they usually will be there at the end of the day. So let's see how it plays out. But shout out to Jackson State and FAMU and Alabama State for representing quite well in that. And there was only, I was looking to see if there was any shutouts. Yeah, there was a couple of shutouts. Jackson State had a 3-0 shutout, and then New Orleans ended up shutting out in FAMU. So, but there was a HBCU softball tournament that went on in Birmingham as well. I believe FAMU went 4-0 in that event, beating Southern, South Carolina State, and somebody else. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but we'll kind of give you some softball updates on next week's show as we try to incorporate some softball into the conversation a little more, because we want to make sure we're spotlighting these guys, these ladies, excuse me. All right, Drew, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through new polls. Before we talk about what happened and what is going to happen on the Division I level, let's get into week number 8 of the top 5 for the NAIA and then Division II. So these are new rankings in the NAIA, starting with the women. Brand new top 5 for the women. All right. And so remember, these are computer-based rankings, not a poll, not an opinion, based on metrics, numbers, and results. So number 1 and 2, I'll go back and down it. I like to start in the bottom. It's hard to think this way. Not much change at all in the top 5. Everybody seemed to win and do what they're supposed to do. Langston is kind of sitting on the outside in the hunt. 17 and 12 overall. Xavier comes in at number 5. I'm not sure where in the Red River. What's the status of the Red River? Are they?
They're still in the midst of the tournament, but Xavier is done. Xavier is done at the Red River.
All right, we know Coach Bo Browder has done a great job in years past. I don't know.
Yeah, Langston is still alive in the Sooner.
Langston's still alive in the Sooner, so there's an opportunity potentially for Langston to find their way into the NAIA tournament with a win. And remember, this is a Langston team that prior to some things happening, they were one of the top teams in our rankings earlier in the year. Fisk is number 4. Finished their season 19 and 8. Good year for Fisk in the GCAC. Philander Smith finishes 23 and 5, 13 and 3.
Right.
Now,
23 is time. The records were not updated when I created the graphic, but the standing is still the same. The points are just slightly adjusted because of today's results. But Philander is our number 3 team despite the loss, and Rust is the number 2 team with the win. Rust goes to 22 and 5, 15 and 2. And Philander Smith is now 23 and 6, 13 and 4. And yes, we do count tournament victories in your conference record for our polls.
All right, I'm glad you clarified. Philander Smith, what are the options? What are the options? Do you feel like that's a team that has enough credibility to get into the NAIA tournament?
They should be in. They should be in with an at-large, assuming, and I say assuming, Brian, that there is nothing funny that comes out of the NAIA tournaments. That is, the teams that are supposed to win actually win. And in the 2-bid leagues, you have to be afraid of in the 2-bid leagues, Brian, is that a third team does not sneak up like number 6 seed league and win that conference tournament, and those other 2 teams have still wind up getting in. Now that has taken a at large way a team like potentially like Philander Smith, an at large opportunity.
Now explain the 2-bid versus 1-bid. Like I believe it's based on the number of teams, correct?
Right. NAIA, if your conference has 12 or more members, you are a 2-bid league. Obviously, we know that champion gets one of those 2 bids. And then it is up to the conference to decide whether they go with the tournament up or the regular season champion for that second bid. It is a conference by conference decision. And should the regular season, if they regular season champion, should the regular season champion and the tournament champion be the same, most conferences will then go with the tournament runner-up today. But it's not automatically the tournament runner-up. It is a conference by conference decision.
All right, good deal. And of course, as you saw, number 1 was Florida Memorial. The Sun conference champions, #1. They've been #1 in our polls for a minute. And I think the difference in points there between Florida Memorial, and Rust in terms of who will come out on top of our rankings will probably come down to the team that goes the furthest. Obviously, there's a 4-point difference, 3.5-point difference between the two schools.
3 points. 3 points with the updated score after today's GCAC victory.
Right. So
is now sitting at 86.96 now.
Right. So it's going to come down to how many wins each school gets. I know, hopefully Russ gets good seeding and ends up somewhere where they can get a fan base like what they had today to show up. I have a feeling Florida Memorial will be at Tampa. I know Tampa University is hosting, so I wouldn't be surprised if Florida Memorial is over there in Florida. I don't know where else, unless there's somewhere down in South Florida that's hosting, but at least Florida Memorial should be able to stay in the state of Florida. All right, let's go over to the men NAIA new rankings. Men NAIA games played through Saturday. Obviously, in the hunt is Paul Quinn. #5 is Dillard University, 17-8, season over. #4 is Xavier, moving from out of the hunt onto the board, 21-8. I believe their season is over. I believe I saw in the Red River. Is it not, Drew? What do you know?
Yeah. No, Xavier is still alive in the Red River, the men.
Okay, my mistake. Okay, so Xavier's still alive in the Red River. So there's an opportunity for them to potentially move up. And obviously the tournament can put you in. You win the tournament, you get a shot getting into the NAIA. And Coach Williams, they've done a great job over at Xavier, so there's a little bit of history there as well. Philander Smith. Now, I don't know how fluid this is based on this game happening right now, Drew. Philander Smith is #3 in our rankings.
Brian,
Let's have the update.
We just had a situation in the Philander Smith game, and I'm going to have to turn my audio on to figure out what's going on.
All right, well, let's not do that. Let's not do that while we're actually doing the show.
With
just give us a score update.
1 second left in the game, Tulu calls a timeout. Tulu throws the ball to just on the other side of half court, but as the two players go up for the ball, there's a collision and a foul call. Two players at the line now, shooting two. He has missed the first one, and he's at the line for the second one. And I will give you the on this.
Score. What's the score?
He dribbles, winds it,
score.
cocks it, and it's over. Tulu wins 62-61.
Wow. So it was a tie game.
On a free throw with no time remaining. Wait a minute. We do have time. Check that. We have 0.5 remaining in the game, Brian. 0.5.
Well, wait a second.
Remaining in the
now,
game. Yes.
Did you
see? Did you has called a timeout. They're going to have to drop a play. They're going to have to throw the ball the length of the court and get a tip in.
Did you see the foul called on the two players going for the ball in the air?
I saw the replay of it. It was a foul.
Okay. All right.
Now,
so there you
go. I blow my whistle as that if I had stripes on in that situation? Probably not, Brian. But it was a foul.
Yeah. All right. So I see you guys on the
So
chat room. You guys are watching it as well. I know them boys is watching. Edwin Moore might be watching as well. But yes,
and you have to forgive me, Brian. I've got the audio in my headphones of the game, and I'm listening to you also. So
all right. So, wow. Congratulations. Well, let's see. Hopefully, Tougaloo, nothing crazy here
okay,
happens at the end of the game.
Philander is getting ready to inbound the ball. They've got to clear the baseline out, the end line.
Messy. Can
And
only
referee
imagine.
tells Tougaloo that they have to sit down because Tougaloo players are all standing.
Oh my
Philander has the
goodness.
ball, sets the screen, tries to go long, gets it, and wide left. It is Tougaloo is the 2020 GCAC champion, 62-60. Brian. Tougaloo now goes to 29-1, 17-0 in the GCAC. Philander Smith falls to 22-7, 12-5 in the GCAC.
Have we? I'll be interested to find out. Hopefully, somebody is reporting or can do the history stat. The last GCAC men's team to go perfect regular season all the way through the tournament. Yeah. So flash the graphic back up again. The NAIA top 5. So again, Philander Smith ends at 3. They'll probably stay at 3 with the record now of 22-7. 12-5. Langston, obviously, they're still in play. There's still games to be played in the Sooner Athletic Conference. But right now, they're a solid number 2. Tougaloo, 28-1, 29-1, 17-0. What a run. I mean, think about the records of that we're having this year. We've got a women's team in conference that's unbeaten. A men's team in conference that's unbeaten. That's pretty impressive. Last year we had an unbeaten conference team. That is hard, man. That is hard to do that. I mean, you look at a team with 1 or 2 losses and say, that's a good team, but to be perfect, outstanding job by Tougaloo and what they've done there.
All
All right, let's go.
Doing an update on the rankings. Brandon Smith will not, and Xavier will flip-flop spot that loss right there. Philander Smith has dropped down to 7409.
Well, that's potentially next week. Xavier still has to finish out. That's right now. Xavier still has games to play.
No,
we'll see how
that would be as of right now without Xavier playing that game. Based on that game, based on today's results, Philander Smith is now behind Xavier.
All right, let's go through Division 2. I don't know how you're saying that's. I thought the rankings were through Saturday. I don't know how you're updating them and adding them into the rankings for today. Anyway.
Okay.
That's what the ranking it says right up there. It says they're through the 25th. So I mean, don't change them now. That's for next week. All right, let's get back to Division 2. Go on, because we got to move here. We're falling behind with these updates. They're slowing us down. Division 2, men and women's.
Which one we're going?
Women's first. All right, so this is obviously CIAA teams might move up and down. SIAC teams are still in play, as well as schools from other conferences in Division 2 HBCUs. Okay, so what we have is in the hunt, you see Savannah State, Lincoln, PA, season's over. Clark, Kentucky State, District of Columbia, and Lane. Okay, Fayetteville State comes in at number 5, season over, 18-7. Pretty disappointing end to their season. They lost in the quarters. I believe they were the 1 seed in the CIAA lost in the opening round, first game out. Miles is number 4 now. They come from in the hunt, 19-7. Miles begins play later in this upcoming SIC tournament. Thursday. Thank you. Thursday. Thursday. Quarterfinal action.
Thursday.
Okay. Number 3, coming from, and this is all in credit to winning 3 games in the CIAA tournament and knocking off the teams that they had to beat to get there, and that's Elizabeth City State moving into the 3 spot. Finished the regular season or finished the season 20-10, 13-7. They will go on and finish and play NCAA tournament. Congratulations to ECSU and the Vikings. Wow. Coming out of nowhere to jump into the rankings. Number 2, West Virginia State. 22-5. They've been there for pretty much as long as Tuskegee's been number 1. West Virginia State has been right there at number 2. And they are going in their tournament, the Mountain East tournament, beginning this upcoming week. So we'll kind of see what happens. Of course, Tuskegee, we talked about earlier, perfect 20-0, still has games to play though. So job's not done for the Golden Tigers. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's go to the men. This is what's going to catch some people. This is going to be interesting. The Division II men's ranking, new rankings. Whoa, we got a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, 5-ish rankings.
Yes, top 5-ish. And I don't care whether you look at the top of the 5 or the bottom of the 5. We got a lot to talk about. All right. So bottom 5. Now, you see a 5A and 5B. Now, Benedict comes in. They are listed as still with their records of 19-6, 16-5. Because the process is going through appeals right now, from what I've learned, that is why right now they're still holding on to their wins the way they are. Now, if they lose the appeals with the NCAA, then that could make a difference. Obviously, they would lose those 10 games. Okay. B is assuming that Benedict, the reason we have a B is because if Benedict had conceivably officially lost 10 games, West Virginia State would be in our rankings as 5. So that's why we didn't want to completely, and I know Drew and I, we went back and forth on this. I wanted to wait until after the process, till the appeals process officially determines what happens to Benedict. So that's why we have an A and B. You agreed with that, yes?
Yes.
All right. Number 4, Virginia Union drops from the 1 spot all the way down to 4 after losing in the semifinals of the CIAA. Miles drops from 2 to 3. And of course, Tuskegee switches with them by we're talking fraction of a point. Literally a 0.24. So, we're talking a tiebreaker essentially. And that's the reason why Tuskegee won the SIAC West by virtue of the tiebreaker. The points kind of dictate as such. We'll see what happens in the tournament. The new number 1 team in the rankings, Winston-Salem State, the Rams. I know our guy Chris Ferguson. I know Steve Gaither. I know these guys are big-time Rams fans. They are pumped. They had to win 4 games and beat some good teams, including the number 1 team, to essentially what they did. The computers were so jacked up over what the Rams did. They went from essentially, Drew, 11th place up to number 1. That's essentially what happened.
And not only did they win, but they beat some quality teams along that route, right?
Yeah. Hey, and look, right now, their record looks just as good and impressive as anybody else that's in the top 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they are
I mean,
worthy.
the
They
top
are worthy.
5 for the wins, except for asterisk.
Right. Exactly. They are worthy. So again, I don't think we've ever had a team come from nowhere, or when we say nowhere, they weren't even in the hunt. They were like in the car still. They were like in the Jeep.
To number 1. We've had them
They were
jump in
in
the
the
top
Jeep.
5, not to number 1.
Right. What they did, Drew, is they picked up the gun out the van, jumped out the van, shot 3 lions dead, and then took out a cheetah and said, "Yo, we're number 1." That's essentially what they did, and said the hunt is over. But we'll see. All right. Let's talk, Drew, about real quick here. Let's kind of break down how the top 5 teams did from last week over the course of the week, Division 1 style. Let's start with the women. Before we show you the new Division 1, we got to talk about what happened. The previous rankings, you had the top 5, you had previous rankings, old rankings, Norfolk State, followed by Jackson State, Morgan State, North Carolina A&T, Alabama A&M. That was the previous top 5. Norfolk State, over the course of the week, picked up 2 wins over Coppin and South Carolina State. They went 2-0 this week. They have 2 games left in the MEAC. Both of them are road games against North Carolina Central and Howard. They only have a 1-game lead over Morgan State, Drew, interestingly enough. And I say all that because Morgan State is now 9-3 in the MEAC. They've lost 3 straight games. After that loss to Norfolk State, they've lost the next 2 this week. So it's kind of interesting to see, Morgan State just lost 2 games at home to Howard and Dell State. Is Morgan State shell-shocked? I mean, does Morgan State have enough gas in the tank to reclaim the number 1 seed? Norfolk State doesn't have easy opponents. Central and Howard will not be easy, plus their road games. So I think this will be interesting to see if Morgan has a shot here. Jackson State keeps winning. They've now won 11 in a row. They have a 2.5 game lead. I think by my metrics, with 3 games left to play, they have essentially wrapped up the regular season crown. I don't think it's official yet, but Bryan Fulford says that they've wrapped up the regular season. So I don't see Jackson State losing right now. How many years now would this be for Jackson State winning the regular season? I mean, I'm losing track of the run.
I know it's 3, possibly 4. I know
Heck
it's
of a
3
run
on the regular season.
Yeah, I would like to know what I saw somebody ask what's going on at
I
Morgan
do know
State.
it's 2 losses in 3 years in the SWAC.
Yes. And actually, it might be 2 and 4. 2 and 4, maybe 3 and 4, maybe 3 and 4. I don't know, but it's a heck of a run. It's outstanding job by Coach Tamika Reed. North Carolina A&T, I don't know. They had lost 3 of the last 4 games heading into the game today. I don't know if they beat UNC Wilmington. That was a big game because going into this contest, into the day action in the CAA, A&T was tied for 3rd with
Them
3
boys say
other
that's 4 in a row for Jackson State.
What's that?
Them boys 4 in a row for Jackson.
4 regular season titles in a row?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, because they had the 1 season. Yeah, so definitely. So A&T, I don't know. If anyone's out there, do you know if A&T won today? Let us know because they're sitting in 3rd a game and a half out of first place, but they're in a tie for third with 3 other schools. So they could easily go from third to like 6th with a, depending upon if they win or lose. And then you had Alabama A&M, who they got a win over FAMU at home. Then they went on the road, lost to Alabama State. They're actually now sitting in 4th place in the conference, and probably the hot team, Drew, that was in the hunt that I'm curious to see where they are in the rankings is Alabama State. They had a triple overtime win on Monday last week against Bethune-Cookman. And then on Saturday, they beat Alabama A&M 69-57. They are now in 2nd place. So my prediction, Drew, will be Norfolk State, Jackson State will stay the same. I think the computers are going to reward Alabama State and move them to 3. Morgan State will move to 4, with A&T moving down to 5. That's my prediction. Let's look and see if I'm right, or if you want to add any commentary in there.
It's just let the computer do what the computer do.
All right. Oh, the computer. Jeez Louise. Okay, so in the hunt, Alabama A&M, Southern, Prairie View, Howard. The computer didn't think Alabama State's run was impressive. So essentially, but at least the team that's second in the SWAC is in the top 5. So that part is what it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Then you have essentially the top 4 remaining the same. North Carolina A&T at 4, Morgan at 3. Again, having lost 3 in a row, reeling. Jackson State, and the debate will go on. Jackson State versus Norfolk State. How do you evaluate these two juggernauts? Is the SWAC and the MEAC on equal footing?
Okay, not in football. Oh, my bad. I wasn't supposed to say that out loud.
Oh my goodness, no, you didn't. I was looking at. I think. What I was. Oh man, it kills me. I don't know if I was looking at men or women's. I think it may have been men. Yeah, I think it was men, where the MEAC's conference rating is actually like outside of the first 4 in. Like they legitimately, the MEAC champion, if it's one of the teams that we're going to talk about here in a minute, if it turns out to be one of the top teams, they have a chance of just really being on the 16 line and avoiding the first 4. I don't think the same is going to be true for Jackson State or Norfolk State. I think those women, the women program, I'm talking in Jackson. On the women's side, I think you're talking 16-seater plans. Honestly, I don't think the strength is there. You have any thoughts on that regarding Norfolk State and Jackson State women?
No, Norfolk had a non-conference record, has actually a better non-conference record than Jackson State. Jackson State probably played tougher competition during the non-conference season, but they were not rewarded with the W's that you need. And when it's said done, it looks good on your schedule that you played some of those blue blood programs if you're Jackson State, but you need W's. Norfolk State was able to beat some mid-majors during the non-conference portion of the season. So if anyone gets off of that 16 line, Brian, Norfolk will get off of it before Jackson does, just based on that.
Yeah, and just I'm looking at a conference RPI ratings right now. The SWAC is rated 30, and the MEAC is 29th. So
Oh,
for this is why
first
look,
four,
this is
first four,
why yeah, both first
first
four.
fours.
But again, for
But Brian,
I'm
also if conference 28 or 27 gets a lower team that a upside down team wins their conference tournament, that might be enough to let one, if not both of them, get out. Those two conferences that are straight ahead, because essentially 29, 30, 31, and 32 your first 14. So if
right.
28 or 27 has an upside down team, and what I mean upside down team, a team that has more losses than wins their conference tournament, you never know.
Now, here's what I will say for the crowd, that the Jackson State crowd that feels the disrespect of the rankings. I will say, when I go and look at the net rating, which is what the NCAA looks at, right? They don't look at RPI and ELO and all the other stuff. They look at the NET, net. That's what they look at. They've said that. Okay. Again, when you look at the net conference rankings, the SWAC comes in at 29. The MEAC comes in at 30. That's a bit of a difference than RPI. And so, of course, the top team out of the SWAC is Jackson State, who's actually a top 100 net ranked team. So,
which means they would probably get out of that.
They might be a 15 seed.
Yeah.
15 seed, maybe. Yeah, so Jackson State is looking at maybe a 15 seed, right? And then, of course, the Norfolk State team, their net rating is much lower, by about 50, 60 points. So I get it. I get it, folks. You want to poo-poo the polls and their rankings, not a poll. Their rankings, and there's still some season left. So let it play out. Just breathe. Let it play out. Let it play out. Only matters is who's number one at the end, right? All right. Let's talk about the Division I men, Drew, because this is rather juicy. Hold on. I do want to mention something real quick about the women's side. Yeah, I know the SWAC tournament, you got the SWAC and the MEAC are basically finishing up their regular season. Interestingly enough, everybody usually has 2 to 3 games left. Some 2, some 3. There's some real interesting teams with some good streaks happening right now in the SWAC. Of course, Jackson State is on an 11-game winning streak. Alabama State is on a 6-game winning streak. They're currently sitting at number 2. Prairie View A&M is sitting at the 3 spot with a 4-game win streak. Southern is sitting in 5th with a 4-game win streak. Okay, so, we're talking about who's going to be on the other side of the bracket from Jackson State. Alabama State and Prairie View seem to be putting themselves in the right spot right now. Also, unfortunately, Valley has lost 19 straight overall games, 0-16.
They won't be in Birmingham.
Yes, you're right. No, they won't be. So Valley season will be coming to an end here shortly. All right. Men's Division I. This is juicy now.
We got some ish going on in the MEAC.
All right. Yes, in the MEAC. So the MEAC, the MEAC conference currently looks like this. Norfolk State and Howard are both sitting atop the MEAC at 9-3. Maryland Eastern Shore is sitting at 3 with an 8-4 record. North Carolina Central is 8-4. Over the past week, Norfolk State was the number 1 team. They lost to Coppin State at home on Monday, which is a rare home loss for them. Just the second time this season, I think, that they've lost at home. They did go on the road, beat South Carolina State. They got their second consecutive 20-win season. Congratulations to Coach Robert Jones and the Norfolk State program for that. Howard only played one game this week, lost to Central. Pay attention to Central, guys. North Carolina Central, this week, 2-0.
Peaking at the right time.
Yes, they are. They beat Maryland Eastern Shore. That was a team who they're number 5 in our polls. Maryland Eastern Shore was once a number 1 team, right? They beat them on the road, and then Central beat Howard. North Carolina Central has won 5 straight games. They are 12-1 at home right now. They are complete opposite on the road. They're a mess on the road, but they are hot. They look great at home. Remember that. Remember what I just said. Okay.
Right. Let's get to the ish.
Yeah. Okay. Get to the ish. I just wanted to break down. Obviously, there was also
the potential.
Grambling State won. They only played one game this past week. That was Saturday. They won that game against FAMU. Alcorn, man, tough loss to Prairie View on Saturday. That was their only game this week, 75-71 at home. Hey, Alcorn had a 6-game win streak as well as a 6-game home winning streak going into that game. Blew it. So I think they had a couple of injuries. I was listening to Charles Edmond on his on the Brave Talk podcast that we air, the Landon Bussey show. Tough loss. All right. So here's what's remaining in the MEAC. This is MEAC-ish. Go ahead, Drew. Call it. Say it what it is.
You said it.
All right.
We could have some MEAC-ish stuff going on.
Okay, so
here.
I gave you the standings. Right? Here's the last 2 games for everybody. The top 4 teams: Norfolk State, Howard, Maryland Eastern Shore, North Carolina Central. The big game starts on Monday. Norfolk State has to travel to North Carolina Central. Okay. Howard travels to South Carolina State. Maryland Eastern Shore hosts Morgan State. If Norfolk State goes on the road, which a lot of teams haven't done this year, Norfolk State moves into probably they kind of separate from North Carolina Central. I think North Carolina Central is out of contention for winning the 1 seed in the MEAC tournament and the regular season title. I think they're out of the hunt. If they win, though, this is the start of chaos, because I don't see South Carolina State beating Howard, and I'll tell you now, Maryland Eastern Shore better watch out. They host Morgan. Morgan is a team that has the capability of they're not just going to lie down. So Maryland Eastern Shore better find their mojo and find a way to beat Morgan. Okay, but let's just say if Maryland Eastern Shore wins, Howard wins, and North Carolina Central beats Norfolk State. Then what we have going into the regular season final on Thursday, we would have Howard sitting at 10-3. Norfolk State would be 9-4. Maryland Eastern Shore would be 9-4. North Carolina Central would be 9-4. Oh, yes. Now, Drew, here comes Thursday. And in true MEAC-ish fashion.
Wait. Let's reset that. You would have 3 teams at 9-4. Where's team number 4?
All tied in second, right? Team, yep. And then the one seed would be Howard. Okay, but Howard,
who would be at that point 10-3.
10-3. Right.
Okay, so
right.
Everybody's within 1 game.
One game of Howard.
We spell it out. 1 game.
Yes. Okay. So Norfolk State travels to Howard on Thursday. Maryland Eastern Shore travels to Delaware State. North Carolina Central travels to South Carolina State. Now, I know North Carolina Central has had road troubles, but if you lose to a 2-win South Carolina State team, shame on you. You don't deserve to be a part of this party. So we're just going to say they're going to win. Del State has been just as bad as South Carolina State.
That brings them to 10-4.
Yes, so that would bring them. Now, like I said, Maryland Eastern Shore better make sure they beat Morgan State or they're not in this conversation. So we got to be careful about that. So now we go into Howard versus Norfolk State. If Norfolk State gets revenge for I remember Howard beat them, ended their 19th game home winning streak on a controversial play. So the motivation and payback is there for Norfolk State. If Norfolk State beats, if Norfolk State beats Howard, we end up with, say it, Drew.
Yeah.
What type of situation? Yes, we end up with a Miakish situation. Four teams. Four teams with a record of 10. 4 teams with a record of 10-4 if it plays out. Now, again, how does this play out again?
Everybody gets a ring, right? Let's just leave it right there.
Oh, well, look, here's how it plays out. If North Carolina Central beats Norfolk State on Monday, and then Maryland Eastern Shore goes 2-0 this week, and then Norfolk State beats Howard on Thursday. And then also that's assuming that Howard and North Carolina Central beat South Carolina State, which they should. You end up with a 4-team tiebreaker. 4 teams, 10-4. Now,
Brian,
yes, Drew.
We gotta break that tie.
What's your next question?
We got to break that tie.
Okay.
We got to break.
How do we break the tie? Okay, so with 4 teams all having played against each other, head to head,
somebody had to get a sweep. Somebody had to get a sweep out of there, Brian. Right?
Somebody. But you know what, Drew? If the scenario plays out, only one team in that scenario got a sweep. That would be Norfolk State sweeping Maryland Eastern Shore. Everybody else would have split the 2 games they played each other. So, what does that mean? You total up the wins and losses, right?
Of those 4.
Of those 4 teams, total up the wins and losses. And here's what you get. Because of Norfolk State's sweep over Maryland Eastern Shore against the 3 opponents that they are tied with, Norfolk State would have a 4-2 record. Howard and North Carolina Central would be at 3-3, and Maryland Eastern Shore would be 2-4. So going into the tournament, now first off, Drew, you know what? Because it's Miakish, you know what happens, right?
Everybody get a
what happens? Everybody gets a ring. Regular season champions, 4 team.
Everybody get a banner.
4 team. Everybody gets a ring. Everybody gets a banner. Regular season champs times 4. Now, in terms of seeding for the tournament, Norfolk State is your 1 seed. Now, Howard and North Carolina Central.
We know our 1 and 4. So we know our 1 and 4.
Yeah, Maryland Eastern Shore is your 4 seed. Now, Howard and Central, how are we going to determine that, Drew? What's the next tiebreaker?
Well, you usually have to start eliminating stuff. Now you're down to a 2-team tiebreaker between those 2. Obviously,
right. And they split head to head. Right.
They split head to head. Usually in that scenario, and weren't able to actually find where they actually listed how they did this in basketball. We did find it in football in the BAC. Kind of try to apply the same tiebreakers that they use in football as much as we could to basketball. It would have to be your record versus the highest ranked opponent. So what was each of their records against who would be our winner? Howard in that case? Howard is our
Well,
conference winner, given our
what
scenario.
ranking are you looking at? What ranking are you looking at?
Okay. Who's our number one out of the scenario?
Norfolk State.
Out the 14 today. Okay, so what's each of their record against Norfolk State?
Well, it's split 1-1.
But both those teams went 1-1 against Norfolk State.
Correct.
What was their record against Maryland Eastern Shore?
1-1.
Okay, so now we look at the fifth place team in the conference and see what was their record against the fifth place team in the conference.
Ooh, wow. Okay, so that's Morgan State. That's
Yes.
Morgan State. Okay, you're gonna make me go look up Morgan State's record now. Let's see if I can pull it up here quickly. Morgan State standings. Let's see. Morgan State, and we're talking about Howard and North Carolina Central, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Howard and North Carolina Central. All right, here we go.
I'm on the schedule.
North Carolina Central. North Carolina Central has.
Let's see. Howard has one.
They split.
Victory.
North Carolina Central split with Morgan. And they split with Howard. Holy cow. Unbelievable.
Right, so
they split with Morgan.
So who's 6?
Oh, are you serious? We're going to the 6th team? Okay, so that's Delaware State. Delaware State. Now we go down to Delaware State. This is unbelievable. Okay, Howard. Howard won both games. Central won both games.
All right, who's number 7?
Oh my God! Can we just go to the coin toss?
Not yet.
Coppin.
Okay. All right,
okay. Coppin State. Now this might be interesting because I think Coppin beat somebody here, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, North Carolina Central is 2-0 against Coppin. Howard is 2-0 against Coppin.
Are you serious, Brian?
I'm saying it's a heart attack. Yes, I'm telling you, this is ridiculous. South Carolina State would be the last place team here.
South Carolina State. Howard is. I'm looking at South Carolina State now. Howard lost one. You're talking South Carolina State and Central. Let's see.
So wait a minute. Are you telling me South Carolina State, who plays Howard and Central this week, if they pull off an upset, well, if they pull off an
upset, we won't have the scenario.
Well, obviously, this all goes to hell then. Exactly. This scenario doesn't happen.
Yeah. Right. So they play Central and lost. Yeah, so they have a perfectly even record. So now you've thrown out head to head against everybody, Brian.
Yes, we have.
Unbelievable. They have the same identical record against everybody. But this is more be accurate than I thought, Brian. After that, I don't know what the tiebreaker would be. I guess you gotta have to go to point differential. That's some type of point differential or something along that line before they get to coin toss, Brian.
You know what? That's a great question.
I
don't even know how I would
record against common opponents or something along those lines. You know, we're gonna have to send something to the MEAC offices if we get to this scenario.
You figure out how to type this up. How would you type this up to the MEAC? Well, I guess
after Monday, could you please let us know what the tiebreak scenarios are after Monday's results? We'll wait till after Monday's results and see. Because right now we don't know, bro. We don't know. This is the reaction of reaction.
Wow. Yes. Wow. Okay. So that's the MEAC. Hey, and the SWAC is no easier, especially at the bottom of the poll. Now, at the top of the rankings in the SWAC who has games scheduled for Monday, Thursday, and Saturday this upcoming week. Okay. The top two teams. And what's interesting is both Grambling and Alcorn are tied in first place at 12-3. So both of them have 3 games to play this upcoming week. Grambling is finishing their Florida swing against Bethune tomorrow, and then they are at home for the 2 Alabama schools. Alcorn gave up a game to Prairie View. They've got the other Texas school at home, and then they're on the road against Valley and then UAPB. Both should be winnable games, by the way, and I'll explain why. Now, that's the top 2, so who knows what'll happen there. I wish if Charles Edmond was, if I should have texted him and said what was the results between Alcorn and Grambling, or if anybody on the chat room, if you know, please go ahead and let us know. Now, here's what's interesting, Drew. The bottom 2 spots, remember, 8 teams go to the SWAC tournament. 5 teams are in contention. Currently, Texas Southern and Bethune-Cookman are sitting in the 7th and 8th spot, 7-9 records. Texas Southern lost Saturday. Bethune-Cookman is the team that has won 2 in a row. So they are the hot team. If they somehow pull off an upset over Grambling, that could really shake up the standings, and it could push them into the tournament. Okay. Number 9 is UAPB. They are 1 game back, but they have lost 7 games in a row. They're 6-10. They've lost 7 in a row. Seems like they've kind of mailed it in. Alabama State has lost 4 in a row. They are 6-10, 1 game out of the 7-8 spot. They've lost 4 in a row. The interesting team, and I know I don't poo-poo me here, folks. Florida A&M is 5-11, 2 games out of 8th place. And here's the scenario that would have to happen for FAMU to have a shot of sneaking in as the 8th seed. If you just factor in the fact that UAPB and Alabama State have lost 7 and 4 games respectively, I mean, come on, those teams are mailed it in. Those guys are on spring break in Daytona Beach right now. Okay, FAMU, if they get a win over Southern is reeling. Southern has lost 5 of their last 6 games. February is still in play, so that means Southern's in trouble. Okay, so here's an opportunity to win for FAMU at home against Southern, but they got to win. If they lose, it's officially over. But if they win, and let's just assume Bethune loses to Grambling, what it sets up is a battle, a Florida Classic battle at Bethune-Cookman on Saturday. I think the game is Saturday. It may be, Saturday. Between FAMU and Bethune. Winner gets into the SWAC tournament. Period. That's what's at stake for FAMU. Okay, so long scenarios, interesting scenarios. It's going to be fun to watch the games tomorrow. It's going to be juicy. I don't know. I feel like we need to do a post-game show. Somebody needs to do a post-game show Monday, Drew. Maybe me, maybe you. Somebody out there, Doc, anybody want to do a post-game show Monday night? We might need to talk about this because there's some interesting scenarios after these games play out Monday.
We'll just save it for Inside the Sports Lab on Tuesday.
All right.
It's on HBCU Sports Lab because nothing's going to change between the end of game Monday and Tuesday. Nobody's playing on Tuesday, so we'll just save it.
All right. We'll see. All right. All right. So here's our new top 5. Did we do the women already? So here's the men.
Yes, we did the women. We on the men.
Okay, Division 1. Here's the men's new top 5. I think we got a new number 1 in the men's. I think. We'll see. I'm betting on it. I'm betting on it, a new number one team in the men's rankings through Saturday's games. And in a second, Drew will have it pulled up. Remind you guys, here we go. There it is. Boom. What'd I say? North Carolina Central jumps into the rankings at number 5. They were in the hunt, but had a great 2-0 week, and they've won 5 in a row. Howard comes in at number 4, dropping from 2 to 4. Alcorn, despite the loss, moves from 4 to 3. Norfolk State drops. The loss to Coppin, probably a big factor. As last week, Howard lost in their only game. Norfolk State lost. That was the 1 and 2 from a week ago. Grambling State, the only team that won. They beat FAMU 69-55. They moved from 3 to 1. I think it's the second time Grambling's been number 1 in our polls. 19-8. And it just sets up some interesting scenarios in the MEAC and SWAC. Don't sleep on Tennessee State down there. You see Tennessee State at 18-13 in the hunt. Just looking at the OVC tournament, which starts on Wednesday. Tennessee State, they are the 4 seed in the tournament. Really had a tough loss to Southern Indiana on Saturday. Lost to them, I think, by like 3 points. Probably a game they should have won at home. But Tennessee State is the 4 seed in the OVC tournament. That is the best seeding that they've had since 2016. So props to Tennessee State. The OVC tournament starts March 1st. And so, this is the week, Drew, where March Madness is happening, is coming around the corner. So we'll see. All right, Drew, anything you want to add or anything you want to mention before we shut it down for tonight?
No, we get ready to pick up this show and get out of here, Brian. Just want to mention that make sure you tune into the various platforms that these conference tournaments will be on. Click on. And we need the ratings. We need eyeballs on these particular games. So whichever platform that it is on, make sure you tune in, because the more of us who tune in, the more money we can command when it comes up to contract renegotiation next time that we have those contracts. Also, continue to support the podcasts like this. I think Coach Jackson summed it up. It's good to have podcasts like this for us to talk about things that affect us, Brian. Coach Jackson summed it up. Congratulations to Florida Memorial women, Russ Bearcats women, and the Tougaloo Bulldogs men on their conference victories thus far. Elizabeth City women and Winston-Salem State men. We've got 5 now. We've got SIAC. We waiting on Red River Sooner to see if we have to catch those at those non-HBCU conferences. And then next week, Brian, we'll be talking about previewing the big boys, the BAC and the SWAC championship next week. So.
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting. So
one last thing, it's almost track season, Brian. Outdoor track begins in 2 weeks on the Division I level. Begins this weekend on the lower levels. So we've got another sport that we've got to add to the
track. How about tennis? Anybody paying attention to tennis out there? Just curious.
I know, fam, you did something in tennis over the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. They went out and swept the three SWAC
Not to be bringing out my Rattler bias.
Well, I mean, we are home to Althea Gibson, one of the greatest United States tennis players. So, I mean, playing tennis is just in you know, FAMU's blood. It just is there. You know, we just got to add some money to support it. So, hey, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you to everybody in the chats for your input, and whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, great conversations, a lot of great stuff that you guys are putting out there. A lot of interesting head scratching stuff too. I have to do some follow-ups on some of this information y'all are posting. Go ahead.
But boy posted that score you asked for: Prairie View 75, Alcorn 71.
What score was that? The score I asked for? I don't think so.
You had some Alcorn score. So that's what the score Edward Moore
Grambling.
posted.
No, I wanted to score Alcorn and Grambling. Alcorn and Grambling.
Alcorn and Grambling.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Fish gymnastics. Yeah. Hey, look, I mean, there's so much stuff going on with our HBCU. So we'll try to continue to I know we went heavy basketball talk today. Might be heavy basketball talk next week as well, but we're gonna do our best to continue to add in some information and different stuff and news and notes and things that we come across. Try to share our thoughts, and we appreciate you guys filling in as well with your conversations as well. Yeah, shout out to Alabama State men and women for winning the SWAC indoor track and field. I know I saw somebody posting there, Shador Sanders won the Black College Football Player of the Year. Seems about right. Seems fair. I mean, I don't have any, dispute with that. So yeah. Hey, thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you didn't already. Go download that Jericho Broadcast Networks app on the Google Play and Apple App Store. And please, please, please go find the BCSN Pod Zone. Everywhere you listen and download podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts, there it is. It's available for you. We appreciate BCSN Pod Zone. Again, thanks to the show. Don't forget, Tuesday night, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the Black College Sports Network. For A.D. Drew, I'm Bryan Fulford. Guys, be safe out there, and love your HBCU. Support them in every way that you can. Peace out.
Well, holla.
But earmuff, you stay on hard.